In this video, we are going to tune my NC Miata, data log, and we're even going to mess around with some launch control. Is tuning your Miata actually worth it? Today, I'm going to show you guys my experience tuning my NC Miata with VersaTuner. We're going to talk about it. I'll show you how to tune it, how to do a data log, and yeah, we'll check it out and I'll kind of tell you guys my thoughts. So my car has actually been tuned for a while, but I bought it and it had a tune, quote unquote. I don't know if it actually was. Apparently it was tuned on ECU Tech. I don't know, because it still had a check engine light for the missing O2 sensors from the catalyst header. Most tuners would tune that out. You can just get rid of those. So I'm inclined to think it wasn't actually tuned. I don't know. Anyway, what you're going to need first and foremost is a way to connect your ECU to your laptop. There's a lot of different dongles that you can use for VersaTuner. They have a whole page on compatibility. I opted for just a cheap USB dongle. It works fine. It's good, whatever. It is also recommended to put your car on a trickle charger or a battery charger, just whatever you can. It's not a crazy long process, but I think it's best practice just to do it each time. I don't know, it takes like less than a couple minutes and you won't fry your ECU. Now we'll go in the car, got to plug into the OBD2. And I guess while I'm doing this, I can talk about why I chose VersaTuner. I don't know if I will, but Flying Miata has their turbo kit out for the NC Miata. I had their kit on my NV and I absolutely loved it. They use VersaTuner for their tunes, and so I'm thinking like, okay, I could go ECU Tech or I could go VersaTuner, and then if I want to go turbo in the future, I'm set up for it. I don't know, we'll see. All right, dongle is plugged in, boot up my laptop. Got this laptop off of Facebook Marketplace and it's like the slowest thing in the entire world. It's $200. So, you know, not too bad, but it is not the best. So we are now in VersaTuner. Here you'll see your current car. A lot of tuners will need you to get these details for them so they kind of understand exactly what they're working with. You can do that here. It's pretty simple. If you keep going down, you have a way to basically customize your tunes. Now it comes with some base maps and like light stage 1 tunes, totally fine. What you can do though, which is really important, you're able to actually disable DTCs. That is a very important part of this process. You also have launch control and no lift shift. I am going to put on launch control just for fun. I haven't used it yet. Why not? Here on the tunes tab, you can see some of these like stage 1 tunes. They're very like basic maps, probably not going to give you an insane amount of power, but it's really nice that it actually comes with them. Sometimes you'll buy a tuning platform and it actually doesn't come with any tunes, so this is pretty nice. They've got crackle and pops. I haven't tried that out. I'm all right, I don't know. Like this car actually pops a lot just with, you know, a normal tune, so I don't really feel a need. If you go to my tunes, you can see some of the tunes that I have on my car. I started with this sort of base map from Fab 9 Tuning, and then I optimized it when I added my cold air intake. Choosing a tuner is kind of tough. I went with Fab 9 because they're kind of cookie cutter. The dashboard is what you use to set up your data logging. So you're able to choose different parameters to track, and you can drag them around, you know, do whatever you want. You can just select, like if you want absolute load, you can just drag and drop this in here. This is what I have chosen for what I think are the most important things to have when you're data logging. On the logging page, you can see each of your logs, you can load them. I actually really like their logging system for VersaTuner. It is a little bit confusing to look at, but being able to actually look at the logs in platform, it isn't a thing for every single tuning program. So being able to do that like on the fly is actually kind of nice. DTCs, you obviously can read or clear codes. Now let's install a tune. I'm gonna throw a tune that is currently on the car back on it just for a little demonstration. I'm also gonna turn on launch control. Go to tunes, look at my tunes. You can import if you get a custom tune, just select that. Go down here, go to flash. Here is where you can customize your tune. So I've got my DTCs that pop up for my car. We're gonna go to edit settings. I'm going to add in launch control. Why not? I don't know, it's fine. 4K, that's fine. You can have a max speed for launch control. So you wanna be, at a stop. And you can actually do the pedal position as well. I'm just gonna leave that on the default. DTCs, here is where you get the list of all of the codes. We'll just go ahead and turn the car on. Not fully, just the ignition. And there we go. Now we're just flashing the tune. It's a pretty quick, there we go. So now it is flashing the tune. The only thing with NC Miatas that's a little bit weird is that when you flash the ECU, it kind of forgets some of the idle, settings. So when you start it up and you start driving it, the RPMs will drop and the car will kind of stutter. If you drive it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it kind of fixes itself. Just a little weird quirk with the NC. I never had that with my NV. It's nice using a stock ECU because, man, it does just work so well. It's very smooth. Whereas my NV, when I did Mega Squirt, that thing took a while to dial in properly. All right, keep following the steps. Just wants us to cycle off to on. There we go. It's gonna clear the DTCs, anything that pops up. Cool, and that is it. You've just tuned your car. Pretty easy process. Now we're going to take it for a drive. I'm gonna show you guys how to data log it, and I'm gonna talk about how it drives, because I have a lot of opinions on if it's worth it to tune a Mazda Miata, especially one that's naturally aspirated. Starts up, just like normal. So while I am getting the car reacclimated, I'll talk a little bit about if I think it's worth tuning a naturally aspirated Miata. If all you're doing is a tune and you have completely stock intake, completely stock exhaust, I would say that it's probably not worth it because you're not really gonna get a whole lot of gain. Actually, if you can see on the camera, the RPMs were kind of stuttering there. That's what I was talking about. Anyway, I think if you have an exhaust and a tune that you can sort of optimize with a tune, I'd say it's worth it. However, it's quite a bit of money to drop if you don't. I need a tune for this car. Realistically, the ECU would probably be stretching a little bit, so it makes sense for me. But if you have a completely bone stock car, I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it just yet. If you find a really good deal, sure, why not? I've got my second track day with this car in 1 week, and I have to do a couple things on it, but I think it'll be a lot better than my first one. If you guys haven't seen that video, it was a complete disaster, but hey, it's part of the process. I'm excited for the second day in this car. It's gonna be good. And I really love how smooth this car is, even with the tune. Naturally aspirated cars especially, I think are really simple from a tuning standpoint. I am not super knowledgeable, but I did get a bit of the process down when I had my NV Miata and it was tuned on an aftermarket ECU. I spent a lot of time just slowly tinkering a little bit, revising tunes. And man, again, just having a stock ECU makes such a big difference in the drivability of a car. Sure, I get the aftermarket ECUs if you need it. If you're doing an engine swap, sure. But especially from the NV Miatas, this is just so much cleaner than doing a Mega Squirt or Haltech or a Link or whatever. It's really simple. That's the one thing. You should not be intimidated by this process at all if you're worried about tuning your car. It's really easy. The base maps are you know, basically like an OEM map, I would not be concerned at all. All right. I think the car is warmed up now. We can start the data logging process. Yeah, drivability is fine now. Again, like 10 minutes and the whole idle drops, they kind of fix themselves. Car feels normal again. Rev matching is nice and easy. It is also kind of nice having a very slow car to data log, because you can actually do a second gear, which normally, if you have a quick car, sometimes you'll spin second, in which case the data log is kind of, you know, not very usable, or not as usable. With a slow car, you can kind of do whatever, and it just kind of works. Okay, so time to start the data logging process. Go ahead and plug in. If you go to the dashboard, this is where you set up those views of all the parameters that you want to log. So what we're gonna do, turn on, you'll see that all of the numbers start changing. You can see the RPM is going up and down. You got your coolant temp. So now we're actually reading what the car is doing. Once you hit record, that's when it's going to record. So I'm not going to click it until I'm just about to do the pull, because I don't want a lot of extra data on either side. So we'll put that there, and you should do this on a closed road, which is what I'm about to do. I'll hit record, go to about 2.5. There we go. Stop recording. I didn't even break any theoretical speed limit. I mean, this is a closed road, so it's a pretty easy process in an NC Miata. Obviously, second gear helps a lot. But there we go. Now we've got our data log, and we can take this, we can send it to a tuner, or I'm going to show you guys what I do, which is a little bit different. Okay, so let us go through the log, and I'll show you how I view these. If you're sending it to a tuner, then it's pretty easy, you don't really have to worry, but go to the log page, and we'll just find the most recent one. We can hit load, and it's going to look kind of insane because everything is selected, but what you're going to do is, if you're going to send it to a tuner, export to CSV, and you can just name it whatever. Once you have that, what I like to do is, if I actually want to view a data log, I go to Data Zap, and this is a very good website. It's free, and all you have to do is just find your CSV file, hit that, it'll upload. Now we're able to kind of, in my opinion, it's a little cleaner. We can select whatever we want to look at. So if we've got both AFR and RPM selected, you can kind of see where the pull started. So we're at 2,600 engine RPMs, and it goes all the way up to 7,148. So this is our pull, and we're able to kind of see, hey, how does the AFR actually look? In this case, it dips down to about 11.8. That's kind of the lowest. And it kind of sticks around 11.8 to, you know, maybe 13. So that's kind of okay. I'm gonna let my tuner decide. I'm not a good tuner. I might also try out launch control just to see if it actually is working. Let's see. It is. That was not working. Interesting, okay. I don't know if that's on. I was definitely stopped for that, so would I recommend VersaTuner? I would say yes, 100%. I think that the program is very simple, it's easy to use. Sure, it doesn't have the most insane like bells and whistles like ECU Tech. ECU Tech is kind of crazy with their phone app and all that stuff, but like this is just, look, ideally you're not going to be tuning your car every single day, so like plugging into a computer is perfectly fine, and it just kind of works. Like it is very well designed, especially in the Mazda community. A lot of tuners use VersaTuner. So that's a big plus. Yeah, I don't know. I absolutely would recommend it for sure. I'd say if you have a fully stock car, you know, it might not make as much sense, right? Spend that money on like wheels and tires or brakes or an exhaust or something like that before tuning it. But if you have a very modified car, then total recommendation, 100%. It's a really easy program. Yeah, it's just easy. There it goes. All right, now it's working. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah. All right. All right, that sounds pretty good. It's healthy. Not, you know, shooting pops out the back, which I kind of would have liked, but you know. All right, I've got to try launch control at least just once. Bogged a little bit. It's kind of sick though. It's cool. I mean, that's a nice feature to have for sure.